This is how you can shape your own reality. Have you ever stopped to think about the immense power your perceptions hold over your life? It's a profound concept that each perception, the way you look at life, can either empower you or hold you back from reaching your true potential, from reaching your dreams. Because it's our own perception that shapes the reality that we experience. As a diverse group of humans, we've all created our fair share of incredible achievements, as well as deep challenges and setbacks, haven't we? Because of these experiences, we create a perception of how things will work out in the future. Often, these experiences ignite a belief within us, and we envision how things could unfold for us, if only if. For instance, two people can be presented with the same opportunities, and yet they look at them differently. One can see it as exciting and fortuitous, and the other can see it as bothersome and inconvenient. One will take the opportunity and run with it, and the other will tally a list of reasons why they can't. I remember this happening many years ago when my husband and I had joined Rotary, and we were talking about how we were going to pack up our lives and move to the Sunshine Coast, which was over 1,000 miles away. And so many people thought it sounded like an idyllic lifestyle and they'd really love to do that. And when I asked them why they didn't, they said because they had houses, they had mortgages, they had jobs, they had a family, and they just felt bogged down. So their perception was that that opportunity that we were looking at as fortuitous seemed burdensome to them. Each of us has the same opportunity but different perceptions. And where do we get our perceptions from? Well, they come from past experiences and beliefs that things will work out in a particular way. Our perception can create roadblocks in the path to our dreams because despite our best intentions, we often find ourselves getting in our own way. We may believe that we're prepared for our dreams to materialize, but deep down, because of our perception, we place obstacles in our own path, such as doubt, undermining, uncertainty, fear, excuses. These roadblocks all hinder our progress. Of course, we don't intentionally introduce obstacles. No one requests from the universe, grant me my dreams, but make sure there's a bloody great mountain to conquer, or I won't like it. So how do we recognize if there's a mountain blocking our path before we begin our journey? Because that's when we get to choose the path, before we begin. Well, here's the secret. It's all in our perception, and that can be interpreted by how we feel about the choices we make. If we're brimming with excitement about our future, we're allowing life to flow freely. There are no blocks, there's no mountain, maybe just a bump or a small hill occasionally when we have glitches in our mindset. We all have those. However, if we feel upset, disappointed, agitated, or even angry, we're actually creating mountains within our own consciousness. So that's not the time to make important decisions about what career to change or to make, for instance. One significant mountain that we often encounter without realizing is perception. How we perceive something and form an opinion about it shapes our reality because it determines the decisions we make. Yet let's not mistake perception for absolute truth. Many have perished defending what they believe to be truth only to discover later that was merely their perception. Perceptions change. They shift and change often. Our lives consist of thoughts and opinions that eventually solidify into beliefs. However, these beliefs are not universal truths. They're merely thoughts we've rehearsed enough to accept as reality. For instance, if we believe that taking that next step to an unknown job is something that's not going to work for us, then we create that belief, and our perception is that it's not going to work. So we probably won't take the opportunity in the first place. But it's not an absolute truth. It works for some people, doesn't it? Absolute truths work for everybody. The universe always supports our perception, no matter how crappy it may be, without judging whether it's right or it's wrong. It doesn't do that. Whether it's good for us or not, it doesn't do that either. It's up to us to determine whether our self-formed truths are either serving us or holding us back. That's the freedom of choice we experience in this lifetime. If we feel agitated due to the belief that someone is holding us back, our perception will manifest as somebody holding us back. True or not? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we complain about the absence of help moving forward in an area of our life, we reinforce our perception, ensuring no one will be there to assist. And the evidence will seal it in truth. When we convince ourselves that hard work is the sole means of attaining wealth, we create our own truth of wealth being hard work. And you may have noticed that we share some of our realities with others, which only goes to endorse that perception as truth, because when others have the same experience, well, it must be true, right? Throughout my life, I've encountered numerous so-called truths that I embraced as my own. I mistakenly believed that when I told the story that was going on in my head and it unfolded and materialized, it must be irrefutable truth. When something seemed too good to be true, it became untrue. That was a belief that I held, which became my perception. Yet in fact, it was merely something I'd conjured, a pattern created by my perception that had become a belief. Our lives are saturated with perceptions we've created, which then manifest as self-fulfilling prophecies. Some of these are small, such as losing refrigerator magnets, and others are life-threatening, such as not feeling safe. These perceptions form the stories that shape our existence, and no one else is responsible for them. That's why taking ownership of our lives is immensely empowering, because it signifies our ability to control our destinies. If we dislike the story we're living right now, we have the power to choose a different narrative, one that supports our growth and fulfillment. The greatest advice I could impart to my children, well, the second greatest, as the first is to never feel like a victim, so the second is to pay attention to the stories they tell themselves. When you notice how these stories make you feel, you have the power to change them. If they uplift and inspire you, you're on the right track. But if they leave you feeling stagnant or disheartened or angry or insecure, then you're lying to yourself. So it's time to change the narrative and craft a new story, one that aligns with your aspirations, where you want to go in life. Remember, everything is transformable, and by cultivating perceptions that support your journey, your life will unfold in truly magnificent ways. This is the essence of self-belief, crafting perceptions that bolster the person that you want to become, and allowing the stories of your dreams to unfold beautifully. Thanks for joining me. I'm Gayle Maree from 6 Dimensions of Healing.